Gospel.
We're here to talk about powerful marriages right now because it is Marriage Week. It kicked off yesterday, continuing all the way up until Sunday. And I've got the lovely Adaze Chiwoko with me. She is the marriage and relationship coach. Sis, good morning.
Good morning, Belinda. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's so lovely to have your company. I know you've been extremely busy today, and you will be throughout the rest of the week. So thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us about Marriage Week. I know that the theme this year is naked marriage. Can you quickly break that down for me?
Sounds a bit naughty, eh?
Just a tad, just a tad.
Well, it's naked weddings and naked marriage, and it really is just about stripping back. So in terms of marriage, just really encouraging people to just go back to basics, go back to the small things that you used to do, you know, the dating, the spending time together, the having in-depth conversations, and just really stripping it back. And stripping away from the business of life. And then the naked weddings are really to encourage people who want to get married but find that the huge costs of weddings is putting them off. We've seen during lockdown that people have been able to put a wedding together for under £1,000 and keep it quite simple. And, you know, we're really trying to encourage people to not let money be the hindrance, because it doesn't have to be.
How do you actually get away from that thought? Especially like for me, I come from a huge family. I had to do mine abroad that way. That cut down the numbers.
Right? You ran away. you run away from everyone and just come back married.
But how do you get it into your head and kind of deal with your family, knowing that, you know, maybe if you were to invite everyone who wanted to be there, you're looking at 500 guests, but you get that down to 50. How do you manage that thought process?
Well, you really have to recognize a couple of things. Number one, your marriage, your wedding really is all about you two. And even if people are upset on the day, they'll get over it, because at the end of the day, we all go off and we all go ahead and have our married life. And I think that's the thing people need to spend more time thinking about, your marriage life, you know? The wedding is one day. And after you've said the vows, it's just a huge party for everyone else, you know? And so it's okay to start to practice from now, putting you two first, putting your needs first. And I think that that's what you need to focus on. It's about you two, really.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that's always interesting, I love to talk to people about marriages, and everyone has an opinion on what they think, you know, makes a great marriage. Some people say you got to stay in love. Some people say, you know, it's prayer that really makes it. There are some people who say you've just got to be exactly how you were before you got married, stay friends and do all the things that you did before. What would you say are the key things to having a sustainable marriage?
Oh, there's a number of things, but I think one of the things that I've noticed really starts to impact marriage is when we stop valuing it. You know, you get to that stage of complacency where it's like, yeah, you know, I've been waking up to the same dude for the past, 5 years. Or, it's no big deal that they help me with this or that she cooks or whatever, she's been doing this for a while. When we start, whatever we start to lose value in, we lose the passion for. We do that with everything. We get a new phone. For the first month, we're like, wow, look at this amazing phone. And then after a while, it's like, yeah, throw my phone here, throw my phone there. We're not so passionate about it. And I think that underestimating the need for maintaining that sense of passion, that sense of energy, can be at the detriment. And one of the ways that people do that is by stopping being grateful and losing the value in the marriage. And then, yes, friendship, yes, praying together, yes, maintaining intimacy, protecting each other's emotions, and really also giving each other the space to be who they are, allow vulnerability and a non-judgmental zone to thrive in your marriage.
Right. I absolutely love that. Now, when I said to people I was going to have the marriage counselor and coach on the show, someone threw me out a question where it comes to platonic relationships between males and females after marriage. Do you have a professional or a personal view on can that work, and is it healthy to have?
I think that everybody has to know that when they get married, there's a lot of things that changes, including your relationships with other people. That's even family, your relationship will shift a little bit. And I think that it might be unwise to think that the level and depth of friendship that you had with somebody of the opposite sex before marriage or while you were single can remain the same when you're married. It's definitely going to change. And I think that one thing people have to remember is that it takes a seed, a tiny seed of suspicion or discomfort or insecurity in the eyes of your spouse to just begin to grow this tree of issues and insecurity. So I think the important thing is to make sure that your boundaries are very, very clear when it comes to friendships with the opposite sex. And I think that you have to make sure that that friend absolutely understands and respects that your marriage will always come before your relationship with them. So I wouldn't say it's a complete no, but I'd say no, that it's going to change significantly, and know that you absolutely need to put boundaries and ensure that your spouse is definitely prioritized.
Right. So for those who kind of feel like, well, I don't want to change when I get married, or they don't want that stigma of, sometimes people get married and it's like, well, you've changed since you got married. You ain't got time for me anymore. That should be, what do you think their approach should be?
Yeah, if you're not ready for the change of marriage, then maybe you're not ready for marriage. Marriage is it's a whole new journey, and you have to, it causes you to change. You need to grow in so many levels. So if you expect that you're going to go on this new journey as the old you, then you're going to have some problems. Be prepared to grow and develop. And that doesn't mean losing who you are. We're talking about expansion here. We're talking about growth. We're talking about development. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. And so lastly, before we wrap this up, I know you've done work with people who aren't yet married, wanting to get married. And I was watching this he's quite popular. I won't mention his name, but quite popular in the US at the moment, talking about what the mindset should be going into marriage. And a lot of people say, it's about looking for love and looking for someone who you can have a good emotional relationship with. And his take on it was, no, marriage is more transactional. It's about finding someone who you can be compatible with and build what it is that you want. So for someone looking for marriage, really wanting to go into the institution of marriage, or, having a really good marriage moving forward, what would be your advice to them? Should they be looking for love or something which is more transactional?
I think you definitely need a combination of the two, because without the love, the transaction doesn't make sense. But the love alone isn't going to be enough. You need a transaction. So you definitely need a combination of the two. Here's the thing that I really want people to understand. When people get into it solely on love, they have this misconception that the love is just going to flow and you don't have to do anything. It's all very natural. Actually, it takes work, and you have to be clear on the fact that you have to create the marriage that you want. And that's where the transaction comes in, where two people come together and say, well, actually, this is what I need, and this is what I feel we need to build towards. And we share those thoughts and create this relationship that we want. If you think you're just going to sail through on love, it kind of doesn't happen that way.
And she has spoken. Thank you so much for your time this morning, sis. How can we stay connected with you?
Social media, that's great. If you want to follow me there, Marriage for Real on Facebook and Instagram, or you can head to my website again at marriage4real.co.uk.
Marriage for Real. I even love
Marriage
the title of that.
Real.
That's right. 100.
Premier Gospel.